yeah, that's it. You just tuned in to the Digital Cartridge Podcast with Sean and Micah. Listen up as they deliver you the most epic show covering movies, television, video games, and wrestling. Now, here's Sean and Micah.
Test 1, 2. Digital Cartridge. Episode 19, Comix Zone.
Ho, 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 motherfuckers.
Oh, it is Christmas. Oh, this would be Christmas Eve, technically. So, I'm sneaking down your chimney. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I might get arrested for that one.
Please don't.
I'm coming in with my fat sack.
Yeah. Hold up now. You been looking at my sack, bud?
Maybe.
I mean, if it's fat, I think I need to go see a doctor.
Yeah, that seems like a testicular cancer. You don't mess around with that.
Yeah, I mean, like if I learned that, that's a not of the Christmas, wish that I looked for.
That's the Christmas Story 3.
Is that when you shoot yourself in the nuts?
The Red Rider's Revenge.
You'll shoot your nuts out, kid. There's a sequel to everything, pretty much. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a sequel to it.
Yeah, there's an awful, awful sequel. There's an awful part 2 that
that's depressing.
Sean and Mitchell are covering it, I think, on their episode 100 for Nerdy Thursday.
Oh, those poor bastards.
I saw A Christmas Story 2. I mean, not Christmas Story, but A Christmas Vacation 2. Like, I never watched it, but I saw, like, the cover title for it, and I was like, I'm not wanting this.
I want to say Christmas Story 2 has the guy that plays in Home Alone. What's the tall, lanky robber?
It's Daniel Stern.
Daniel Stern. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's like the dad in Christmas Story 2.
Yeah, that's just depressing.
I think there needs to be like a law where if you're in a Christmas movie, you can't play in another Christmas movie because it messes up timelines totally. That'd be like fair. Tim Allen being a dad, in like Home Alone 4 or something.
They did make a Home Alone 4, unfortunately, and it was really terrible.
Oh, if it's worse,
I think
anything's worse
5.
than 3. Oh,
I think it's up to 5.
It's kind of like The Land Before Time. There's like 50 of them now.
I guess we should tell everybody who we are. We already told them what we're covering.
Well, I'm Santa Claus. Oh, no, I'm Sean.
And Micah, and we have a special guest with us today, if you haven't already figured that part out.
Yeah, I kind of just talk all over everything. I'm Paul. What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
Well, getting through the day.
So, Paul, tell us how we got you on. Where do we know you from?
Originally, it was from Loaded Cart Podcast, and also got the Twitch channel over What's Paul Playing Today.
So, what are you playing today?
I was playing Escape from Tarkov. Good lord, I'm addicted to that game.
So, tell me about that game because I've never heard of it until just now.
It's as unforgiving as we were talking about before the show. It is a realistic military, not military, but realistic military gunplay simulator. Essentially, you drop into a zone, go around the map, pick up all that you can, try to extract without dying.
When you said zone, I was like, we get to drop into auto zone and start firing off on batteries?
There is a garage in one of the maps, so
drop into auto zone, give Taylor some shit.
Yeah, go Rampage style, like on a State of Emergency on the PlayStation.
Oh my,
that'd be an interesting.
Absolutely, I'd play it.
Oh yeah, I was gonna play 21 Questions with you today, but like I didn't think of 21 Questions. I was like, man, I need to do something for when we have guest hosts from now on out. Is like literally just interview them. But
you get fire away, dude. I mean, I got nowhere to be.
Yeah, I know. Or I just need to start doing 7 minutes in heaven.
Who's heaven?
I don't know. We're not making out at the end. That's Micah's job.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
why did you get more disappointed when he said that's Micah's job?
Someone had to.
I don't know. We almost have
matching.
Well, me and Micah pretty much have matching haircuts now, so you wouldn't know who it is if we turned the lights out.
Christ, you're right.
Like it was super excited, and it was like, but it's Micah. It's like, womp womp womp.
He's like, I wanted the short bearded one.
I've known you longer, so I have to give you shit.
The price is wrong.
He's like, Sean won't know the difference, if I do anything strange with you, but if I've done it with Micah before, it'll be like, we've done this before. We've tangoed
and cashed.
The horizontal tango? Oh my. That's a great movie. It's really weird.
I have not seen that movie probably since maybe like 2 years after it came out when I was young.
Give it a rewatch. I think you'll be confused.
I mean, there's a bunch of movies lately that I've tried to rewatch and been confused. Uh, Hell, speaking of movies, I tried watching the other night was the Six Underground movie that was on Netflix.
Oh my god, that is so weird.
I stayed so mad confused on that the whole time because I was like, I see what they did because they wanted to design this for like an action type of flick, but it was just all over the place.
It feels like they wanted to accomplish like 16 different purposes and didn't accomplish anything.
Oh yeah, because at one point I was like, oh, I'm watching Hardcore Henry, and now I'm watching something else, and now I'm watching something else. Like, I get it, but I was like, you can't put so much shit in a movie and expect it to be that great.
Absolutely.
You can't put shit in a movie and expect it to be great.
Of course not.
In fairness, we did have Dogma and the Golgotha Shit Demon.
Yeah, and that was good. I mean, but that's a whole other world. That's a Kevin Smith world.
Fair
and,
enough.
You know, his world gets funky. You know, when you walk into like Tusk and other stuff like that.
Yeah. Then there was Red State, which was surprisingly good, but definitely a different tone than the rest of his films.
Oh yeah, I felt like I was not watching a Kevin Smith film mixed into that movie. But you have to remind yourself.
Really good though.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, it's definitely a good take. I mean, better than Yoga Hosers.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh, that's another one. Of course, it's got his daughter in it. And they work in a gas station, and it's Canadian stuff left and right. I mean, it's just. I don't want to spoil it for you. Watch it because it's worth a watch. You know, I think it's part of the whole True North section, but I mean, it's in that weird section of films that he has.
Fair enough.
So, Micah, have you done anything interesting lately?
Hated life, had seasonal depression over Christmas, you know, all that good stuff.
I mean, Christmas isn't here yet. I mean, look, 2020 is coming. You know, you can literally wipe that slate clean.
Yeah. And I'm trying to get back in the spirit of Christmas for the kids and for the wife, but Jesus Christ, some of these people that you see out in public are just assholes.
I mean, you could just be Krampus. Unless you smell the snow better.
Yeah,
so does the cocaine.
Yeah.
We went to the mall last night because kind of our tradition is to always wait until like the last weekend and then go pick up all the presents for the girls because we don't like to hide them, and I'm really bad about if it's here, I want to go ahead and give it to them.
Oh my God.
So we took off to the mall and we I mean, it was packed and there was retail people everywhere that were just full on asshole mode.
That seems right.
I mean, what do you expect? I mean, because from my understanding, you know, Black Friday wasn't shit this year, so I'm sure everybody else is still going out shopping and doing their things, you know, at a hardcore level.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that I hated working retail, like especially this time of year, but it's fucking your job. Like that's like going to McDonald's, like these motherfuckers that complain about having minimum wage. Like that's your job. You ought to fucking do your fucking job, because if I don't do my job, I get fucking bitched at.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, unfortunately, when I used to work retail, I kind of miss it in a way. I mean, I miss that more so the thrill and the hecticness of it.
It's just one of those things. Like people couldn't even say thank you or like excuse me or can we help you or anything.
Well, I mean, these days everybody's in a rush. I mean, everybody.
Yeah, that's just and everybody's more worried about themselves than they are anybody else too.
That's just normal though. People are self-centered. That's just how it be.
Well, I mean, yeah, and that's what I go back to back in the day, like talking about the internet's ruined everybody on like even being kind to anybody. You know, it's just, if none of this existed, we could have been a friendlier world. But now that everybody's opinionated and everything else, it leads to
And there's all these keyboard warriors that have podcasts that get on and complain about stuff like we're doing right now. So that doesn't help.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because everybody's like, man, I can't stand this right now. Let's get into
Battlemania.
So, Paul, are you familiar with Battlemania? Do you know what our Battlemania is?
I'm listening. I'm not, but I'll have to.
So Battlemania is a poll that we do with every episode. First 10 episodes was over music types, and Sean and myself would pick a music and put it up on the Facebook page and let people decide which one they like best. Now we're actually doing food battles.
Mm-hmm.
So we're pitting different things against each other every episode and allowing the listeners to go in and choose which of our choices they would prefer. For our episode 18, we went with our favorite fast food combos. My choice was Zaxby's Wings and Things, and Sean's choice was Chick-fil-A's Chicken Sandwich Combo.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is I fucked up on that one. When I went back and re-listened to that episode, I was like, why the fuck did I even think that I could say the word crinkle cut fries for some odd reason when it's obviously waffle fries? I don't know what was stuck in my mind during that time. I mean, I guess we had talked about so much food. I was like, man, I want some other fries right now. But I distinctly said, the chicken sandwich combo with crinkle fries. And I was like, what the fuck? That doesn't exist. And, maybe an alternate universe that Chick-fil-A, is open on Sundays, it does exist, but not today.
Yeah, so you were back and you won. There was a total of 63 votes, and you actually won with 36 of those 63.
Nice. Yeah, I think, for the longest, you were up, too, on that battle, and I think I just quit watching. I was like, I'm going to lose this one, and before I knew it, Micah, I kind of just climbed on top, and I was like, the crowd is mine.
Yeah, I forgot to check it, but I assumed I won because, like you said, I was leading by a fair share for a while.
All right, I'm gonna have a controversial opinion here.
Okay.
I prefer Zaxby's. I'm not a big fan of Chick-fil-A.
It is what it is. I mean, and I know that episode I ended up eating Popeyes that day because I talked about, that obviously they're closed on Sundays. But I mean, I try to stay away from fast food as much as possible.
Of course.
Zaxby's is good, but it's overfilling. And after I eat it, I'm just I feel miserable because I will eat the whole damn plate.
That's just fast food in general. You're always going to feel miserable.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. They're like, no MSG means extra MSG.
It's true.
So since you won, do you want to go ahead and tell everybody what we're doing for the next one?
Yeah, and it's it's December, it's Christmas Eve, so we're like, let's pick something, a little Santa-ish, so we picked, what's Santa's, what's your favorite cookies for Santa Claus? And since I won, I guess I get first pick, and mine is actually M&M cookies. Like
just a straight up sugar cookie with the M&Ms inside?
Yeah, but you got to use the red and green kind. It's got to be.
Of course, it has to be festive.
Yes, it has to be festive.
So I'm going a variation of sugar cookie as well. Mine is going to be a snickerdoodle cookie. And if you aren't, if for anybody who isn't familiar with that, it's a sugar cookie, and then you roll it in cinnamon afterwards before it's cooked. Before it is cooked.
Yeah,
it is delicious.
Those are good. Did you ever get the tin of all those cookies, like the Danish cookie big old tin when you were little? Did you have a grandma that would order them, or your mom? It would have layers and layers of them in the little, kind of cups that you.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. No, because every time I ever saw one of those, when I'd open it up, it had sewing supplies in it.
Yeah, you can't eat needles.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'll tell you a new cookie that Ashley found that almost made it over Snickerdoodle. It's a salted caramel sugar cookie.
Nice. If you have a Kroger around you, they have a salted caramel cookie that they make in their Select brand or whatever.
She made some of these the other day. We went to Meyer. It's like a big grocery store type thing.
Yeah.
And
yeah, those places are taking over.
It's the only place. It's like a premix, like a package mix, and she made them, and they were fucking amazing.
Paul, do you have a favorite cookie?
I tend to stay away from sweets, but if I'm going to go with a cookie at all, it's going to be a Snickerdoodle.
I got you.
So I don't even have to ask you my question of who you're voting for then.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm the fat boy. I'll eat all the cookies. It doesn't matter.
Hey, man, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. I used to love getting the Keebler Elves, whatever brand that is, cookies, the soft bake ones when I was a kid. But those things can't be good for you if they stay soft like that the whole time they're in that package.
So, with our Battle Mania, like I said, it is a poll that we put up on Facebook. Our episode always drops on Tuesday. The Battle Mania poll always goes up on Wednesday afternoon. We leave it active for a week. Let you go on there, vote for your favorite type of cookie. And then also in the comments, if you have something else you prefer, or if you want to tell us how wrong we are, you're more than welcome to do so. And I will delete your comment and ban you from the page.
Hey, meet me over by the water cooler. So, what's up? I gotta fill you in on what I've been watching. Oh, jeez. This may contain spoilers.
Babe, no, you wouldn't kiss me.
Hey, I didn't say I wouldn't. I just said I was disappointed about it.
So, I know with that's a good way to start water cooler. we were talking about been hyping up Crisis on Infinite Earth for the longest time, it feels like, and they finally dropped the first 3 episodes. Did you get a chance to watch those?
No, because I know about the whole hiatus over the Christmas break, and I'm not gonna sit there and I'll wait till they're all dropped and rewatch them.
See,
binge it is a great idea.
I was worried I would get too many spoilers, so I went ahead and watched them, and now I've got to wait for the last 2.
I haven't seen a single spoiler because I mean everybody else is too busy still talking about Mandalorian, and then of course the new Star Wars that came out and everything else. So it's honestly not a hot topic now. There's I think all the hype was the biggest thing, and now it's kind of just just chilling.
Yeah, and there was
water.
a ton of like the only stuff that I saw as far as spoilers was people pissed off about the fact that all the hype, like, and all the returning characters weren't utilized better. I'm trying to avoid spoiler stuff, like how I say that, but they were underutilized in like their places on the shows. And I get that. I mean, I can see what they're talking about. Like they brought back Burt Ward, like the original Robin, and he's shown on screen for maybe 2 seconds. I mean, it's the quickest cameo ever.
Maybe that's all they could afford him for.
Yeah, I mean, could be.
Let's be honest, though. What's Burt Ward doing?
I mean, these days, yeah. Probably like Comic-Con, appearances and, $60 signings here and there.
Would he really be that expensive?
Probably not. It's probably more so
Sorry, Burt Ward.
getting him to, actually where they film. They're like, oh, you mean I got to travel, 600 miles? I don't know how he talks, but I'm just going to say that's how an older person talks.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I have to come 600 miles.
Why?
It's 2 seconds, Bert. It's only 2 seconds, Bert. Come on, just do it.
Still on that hardcore Office binge. I'm almost through season 7.
Has it felt drawn out since you binged it so fast, or how's your reaction now that you made it this far?
Once I got over the hump that everybody was talking about, so the first like 3 or 4 times I tried to watch it, I kept getting stuck in season 2, and like I would give up. But once I got past, I think season 3 and pretty deep into season 4, I was hooked. I was good. I'm in. And people keep saying don't worry about season 8 or 9. Like at this point, I'm gonna go watch all of them just to finish it.
Can I take you to Office Trivia now?
Yeah, you can try. I mean, I'm binging it, so I'm probably not retaining as much as people who have watched it over and over. But I get all the memes and everything now.
Oh yeah.
Have you watched any TV?
Yeah, I finished Castle Rock. That finally finished off. Season 2 just last week, so it was really good. Like I mentioned, beforehand, I know you haven't watched any of it, but there are the tie-ins that I didn't think that were ever going to happen. Into season 1, those do finally happen, so it's pretty good on that. And then of course Hulu, is all about giving you suggestions every once in a while, and they had the show called Reprisal, and I was like, let me watch it, and I watched 20 minutes in the first episode, and I said, all right, I'm actually going to stop and give this whole episode, this whole series a watch. And me and Angelica actually finished it off and watched the whole first season, which is the only thing available right now. It's good. It's different. I mean, it's something that hasn't really been done before, but it has. It's got that whole 1950s rat rod feel to it, and it's got gangs and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. But there's a fuck ton of killing and blood and murder in it, which that's what we like to watch sometimes is, shit getting. I mean, there's probably more blood in one scene than there was in an episode of Dexter. So, I mean, that's to show you how much is on the screen.
I did get to go through. So this time of year is pretty loaded up with like season finales and series finales and stuff like that, just because of the way the time falls and everything's going into mid break and whatnot. Series finale of Silicon Valley happened, which put a nice bow on everything that they've done. If you're familiar with Silicon Valley, if you watched any of it at all, they had the.
I'm only familiar with the hand job joke in that.
The
show.
tip to tip.
Yeah.
I told somebody that at work the other day. They were talking about that, and I said, "Just put them." He said, "Y'all just stand beside me on either side." And I said, "That's a lot of wasted motion. Why don't you just go tip to tip?" And he goes, "Whoa, you thought about this too much." And I was like, "No, I watch too much TV."
No, Silicon Valley thought about this too much.
You had the season finales of Mrs. Fletcher, which I don't know that's going to come back for a season 2. And it was a really weird show.
Never even heard of it.
It's got the girl that was on, and I got like Bad Moms and Bad Moms Christmas. You know those movies?
Not familiar. Yeah,
she's been in a ton of shit, but she was like the leading character. It was an HBO series, so it was really, really well thought out, but the execution on it was really bad.
That's fine.
The entire season of Watchmen, so the season finale of Watchmen happened, and the entire season of that was, in my opinion, it was excellent. Like if you were a fan of the novel or of the actual movie, like you need to watch the HBO series Watchmen.
I was a fan of both. Funnily enough, it's sitting right on my desk right now, the graphic novel. And the film, while different from the graphic novel, I thought improved on it in some points. Not to say the Alex Moore folks are going to jump down my throat, but I thought the whole ridiculous ending for the graphic novel was improved.
The nice thing I liked about the series was it's basically a continuation, like a loose continuation of both the graphic novel and the movie. But it's set 30 years into the future of those, so it's almost like present day, but it's what present day would have been from that timeline and that continuation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's like I said, it's really, really worth checking out, and it brings back a lot of the characters from the movie, like Dr. Manhattan's there. He's a really prevalent character. Ozymandias is there. I'm trying to think who else. Silk Spectre 2 is there. So there's a lot of people, a lot of familiar people, but then it establishes a whole lot of new characters too.
Huh. I'm definitely interested. I just don't have anything to do with HBO currently.
You hit me up later and I'll let you have my HBO login.
Oh, nice.
Until too many people watch it and kick him off, and then he gets mad and changes the password.
That's also fair. I
HBO,
honestly really
I don't have that problem with HBO. It's just my fucking WWE network.
Oh yeah, all the leeches.
Yeah, there's a lot.
The series finale of Mr. Robot is tonight as we record. Like, that is another fantastic series. If you're not familiar with, it's worth, now that the finale's happening, like start to finish, go through and sit down and binge it.
I love how, like, it's always when we record, it's like the big season finale or something, and it feels like you're going to miss it, and you just have to wait till later. And it's kind of like a guilty pleasure I have of mine for you.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I have to wait.
Yeah, but half the time my fucking piece of shit DVR doesn't even record it either, so I have to be careful about it.
True.
And then my asphyxiation for reality TV, is that the right word? Asphyxiation?
Autoerotica asphyxiation? What do you know about that?
The season finale of Masked Singer happened last week, and they unveiled who that was.
I knew it. By the time that it was the episode before that, I heard the voice and I knew exactly who it was. And how everybody thought it was Jamie Foxx. I was like, "There's no way they would have put him in the Fox outfit and let it be Jamie Foxx. It's just too revealing."
Yeah, that would have been too heavy-handed. And then the season finale of Survivor was last Wednesday as well. And so they're pumping out some fucking Survivor seasons, man. They've got to the point they're doing 2 a year now, because the next one starts February, I think, like right after the Super Bowl. But it's their 40th season, and they're bringing back every person who has ever won a season to be a contestant on the 40th season, and then they double the prize from $1 million to $2 million for the 40th season.
It almost seems like they're trying to just do a cash grab now. I mean, I know it's been around. I mean, you've done so many seasons. It's almost like go out with peace, kind of like The Simpsons. Has had so many seasons. You could have just packed your shit up and been gone. Now you just
the cool thing about Survivor, and I've watched it. We've talked about this. I watched it since season 1. Like,
yeah.
That's one show that I would love to go audition for and be on, but they're constantly changing it. So like one of the big things, like season 10, season 15, somewhere in there, they added the hidden immunity idols where you could find those. And then they added Castaway Island or Exile Island, where somebody would go and they would have to sit by themselves and couldn't participate in stuff. And then there was this whole other twist to it. And then this most recent season, they were doing Island of the Idols, where you had to go to, they brought back 2 people that had won before, and they went in and you had to talk to them and they could give you advantages and stuff like this. But they always stay relevant and they always stay on topic too. Like, it seems like, for like what's going on. So there was a whole lot of like Me Too discussion and a whole lot of like gender, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like gender identification discussion in the last couple of seasons, because they've had a lot of players that have transitioned that were on the show. And like one season, like dude got outed. Like he hadn't told anybody that he had transitioned. And like he told somebody like in privacy, and like homeboy outed him on the show, and it was like this whole ordeal. But they tackle it head on. I mean, they go for it. And like this season, this was season 39, because like I said, next one's the 40. They had the first person they ever had to kick off the show because the guy was going through and like he was inappropriately touching other players. Like he was inappropriately touching female players. And it got to the point that like they were reporting it, and like they kicked his ass off the show, and they had to address it and go into the Me Too thing and everything.
Well, it's always, the first episode, like big stuff like that. What was it, Real World, where they kicked that one dude off like immediately?
Yeah.
Season 1?
It blows my mind like how socially relevant they stay.
Well, you got to in this
Yeah,
one.
you really do. Have you watched anything cool lately, Paul?
Well, I'd finished the first season of Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. That was pretty good.
Yep. That was good.
Yeah, I'd really recommend that. Also watched, been watching Farscape with the girlfriend. We were trying to go through the first season just to see how I get a feel of it. It's pretty good. And if you're not familiar with it and don't mind quirky anime, Agretsuko is hilarious. It's a Netflix original.
Wait till you get to that season 2 of Jack Ryan. It's just as good.
I'm looking forward to it. I haven't made time for it yet, but since I'm on vacation for the next few weeks, I'm probably going to.
I don't blame you. It's there's a lot of similarities in between the first one that you'll pay attention to. That the kind of the idea they have going on, and I wonder if the third season will be like the same scenario on this. But I mean, it's very good.
Yeah, they've got a kind of a monster of the season scenario type of thing going on, I'm assuming.
Kind of, sort of. It's just there's a lot of similarities. There's the way that like the whole, I guess you could say, bad guy setup is. It's always in numbers of 2, kind of like the first one.
Right.
But it is. And I was like, okay, I can dig it. But I didn't think that I would fall in love with that show as fast as I did, and I did. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm immediately stuck on it. And I guess it's also because like I used to watch this TV show called The Unit when it came out. And I think a lot of that reminded me of that, just that whole military-esque, espionage, all that weird stuff like that.
Yeah, and you really don't expect Jim from The Office to portray a viable action hero type, but he does it really well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was gonna try to break that into like an alternate universe after The Office, like let's just like him and Pam never made it, or something like that, and then goes off in just some weird world. I mean, it'd make a good story.
Have you been to the movies lately?
Yeah, ended up I had my son last week, so spent a week with him and took him to go see Jumanji: The Next Level, which it's hard. It was really hard for me to watch that movie with just basically The Rock and Kevin just doing these voices the whole time, and it was just like, man, I was like, y'all got to quit this in this movie. It was annoying the shit out of me. But in the end, it was an okay movie. I still very partial to the original Jumanji, so seeing these come out left and right as cash grabs, they're not as memorable, I guess, as they're going to be, because I mean, when you put Kevin Hart and The Rock in something, it's almost like all right, here's another movie with them. It's just so many that they've done together now. It just seems like it's too much.
Yeah, it's kind of like Adam Sandler and his whole bunch.
Oh, exactly. And then I ended up seeing Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, which I'll keep my mouth shut about it because it's extremely early and nobody wants to hear spoilers on it.
I'd appreciate it. I haven't seen it yet.
I made a joke in a group text and pissed some people off. It was fake news for it. But somebody immediately was like, left the group. And I was like, it is what it is. I mean, I'm sorry, but
if you're going to be butthurt by a joke that didn't even happen, that's kind of on you.
Well, I was saying that I was going to give out spoilers, and I was just giving out fake spoilers the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So. But I mean, they were so wild that they're not going to happen, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Spoilers, midichlorians are bed bugs.
Again?
That's what they're called, right? Midichlorians?
Midichlorians, yeah. We should probably move on because I will bitch for an hour and a half on that.
I did spend a whole hour watching a YouTube video on how to make the Mandalorian's helmet out of like project foam and stuff.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I was like, I have the time to do this. I was like, it seems like I would want to do it, but then I'm like, I can't just stop at the helmet. I'd have to do the whole outfit.
Have you been watching Mandalorian? Yeah,
Me?
You said you're saving it, right?
Yeah. Oh no, I've literally I'll stay up like when it comes out on Friday, except for last week, I'll stay up to 3 a.m. and watch it like immediately.
Have you watched any of it, Paul?
No, I don't have Disney Plus. I already have Netflix and Amazon Prime. I'm just not. I'm not in for another streaming service.
Well, we'll talk after this episode.
So, I was really into it, like the first 4 or 5 episodes, and the last
right
2, because there's 8 for the first season. So let's say the last 3 have really been kind of like just bleh for me. Like I don't know if they have a very one-off feel. Like each episode feels like a very one-off thing instead of a continual story.
I mean, there's so much travel that it's doing, and I mean, I understand it still has the whole idea of protecting the kid, but yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. Like every episode feels like it's so different. I mean, it's just imagine you're just driving off to different worlds.
Yeah, and it would make sense if it was like, okay, I've got another bounty or I've got another target, or it was explained in some way to me. But I don't know. It's just like I said, the last couple are just kind of me on.
Push and catch back up because the last episode that came out actually on Wednesday, the one that releases before this I think it's this Friday or next Friday, I can't remember the exact number dates. It plays catch up and brings everything back around full circle.
Is that the prison one?
No, that's the one before. That's the one with Bill Burr.
The one. That's the last one I saw. Yeah, that's the last one I saw, and I was like,
Yeah, Bill Burr's in it.
What?
I didn't. Bill Burr's a weird character for
Nick
it, but
Nolte's
also,
in it too.
What's the UFC? Yeah, what's the
Gina something or another?
Gina Carano.
Yeah, Gina Carano. She's in multiple episodes, So I mean, it's
Nick Nolte. Nick Nolte's in multiple episodes too.
Yeah.
Interesting. Weird choice, but okay, I'm in.
It's for a voice, but I mean, that's all Star Wars basically is voices these days.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's the Muppets, but in space. No.
I mean, you're not wrong.
No, I'm not. But I mean, it sounds very wrong when you say it that way.
That's fair.
I mean, nothing's as bad as that Star Wars Christmas special, but
oh boy,
Micah, have you ever seen that?
I want to say I watched part of it on YouTube one time and was like, nope, this is stupid.
Oh, that's
watched
because
the whole
George
thing.
Lucas does not want it to exist. You know?
I watched the whole thing. It was interesting.
It's
It
interesting.
was a thing
It's-
for sure.
Yeah, if you were on drugs, it'd be even better probably, because I'm pretty sure whoever created it was severely fucked up that time.
I was not at the time, but it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, yeah.
I was listening to I think it was Still Popcorn Podcast, one of their last episodes, or I may be giving credit for somebody else, but they were talking about Star Wars. No, it was Cape Podcasters. I almost fucked that up. My bad.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Dave gonna come
yeah.
over here and whoop
Because
your
they were doing that
ass.
episode with Kyle from Experience Grind, and they were talking about how they didn't have any kind of expanded universe because the lady that's running everything now basically like killed everything that was in canon. So now they're complaining that they don't have enough expanded universe when they had this entire expanded universe that she just kiboshed.
Yeah, that was a very weird situation regarding, like, they just took the EU and just trashed it, except for the cartoon series that are on Cartoon Network. Those were still canon.
I just like that was one of the things that like piqued my interest when they were discussing that on their episode, and I was like, I didn't know that was a thing because I'm not a huge Star Wars like fan. I'll watch the movies, but I'm not crazy about it. But I was like, why would you come in and
Sure.
kibosh all this stuff that's like been put into place just to reestablish not have it anymore?
They
that's
just
like-
wanted their own thing.
Like I tried to do the whole the cartoons, like the Clone Wars and all that, but like I guess I was like Mike, I stay with what's relevant, you know, just for the pop culture side of it, you know, and I'm like, oh, it's fresh, it's new, let's watch it, you know, and keep, you know, with the end. But like all those cartoons and stuff that, you know, came out during those times, I can't even go back and try to rewatch them. It's just nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Canon or not, I'll forget it all eventually.
I did finally get around to watching It Chapter 2.
Nice.
Yeah. Was that 28 years
That's what
after?
yeah, it felt like
Yes,
it
the
took
original?
28 years for me to watch
That's
it.
when it's set, yeah.
I know, that's what I'm talking about.
But
How'd you feel about it?
so I actually preferred it more than Chapter 1, to be honest.
Well, I mean, Chapter 1 is almost like a homage to the first one, you know. There's so much, you know, almost like scene for scene cuts and stuff like that. More to the second one, you know, it's just like we're going for it.
I felt like it tied up a lot of loose ends too. Like, and granted, that's what a fucking sequel's supposed to do. So don't get me wrong.
Exactly.
But like, it put a lot of thought into the character development, and you've got a lot of good like basis and good stuff to pull from. But it finished off a lot of storylines and paid respect to old storylines that were pre-existing from Chapter 1.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got 2 books worth of material sitting there. You might as well
Yeah,
use
but
them.
some people don't. I mean, look at the fucking like the Maze Runner movies.
I actually enjoyed them, but that's also coming from a place where I haven't read the books.
Or if we want to get real nerdy
So I
and,
can
and show how fucking stupid I was at one point, look at the Hunger Game movies and the Twilight movies.
Yeah, you won't catch me doing the movies. I've said my piece.
I tried. I got like halfway through the last one, and I was just like, this is just Lord of the Rings without.
Well,
the
see, I can't
elves.
even watch Lord of the Rings.
They're just walking.
I can't do it. I've tried. Like, if you were to like torture me, I guess that's a way, you know, you could like sit me in a chair and like, you know, keep my eyes open and just force me to watch it. But like that's
Fair enough.
that's one that I've tried my hardest to get into, and I'm just like, can't do it. Just I'll put like the phone test.
I'm personally not a fan.
I'll take a phone and put it next
Yeah.
to me, and if I reach to pick it up while watching something, that means I'm not interested. Or if I like check a watch or something,
Yeah.
like that's also I do in the movie theater. Like if I ever reach for my phone out of like boredom in a movie, I just know I didn't enjoy it.
The only time I reach for my phone in most movies is when I'm like, I know that actor. I need to know who he is right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can't do that. Like that's just a golden rule. I can't do it. If I have, I mean,
That's fair.
I'll like put it in my head and I'll keep like repeating to myself. I'm like, you got to look up this actor at the end of the movie, and I'm like, I just missed like 4 scenes because I was like telling myself to remember this one object the whole time. You want to get into that main topic?
Yeah, I'm fucking Office binge has been taking up a majority of my time, so I don't have anything else.
And now, what you came here for, the main topic.
Comix Zone for the Sega Genesis.
Before you get into the description, do you want to tell everybody why we're playing this shitbag game?
Yeah, I will tell everybody why we're playing this. It is a shitbag? Because I'm going to tell you it's a shitbag. I mean, you stopped me before I could tell you why I wasn't going to like it. But we decided to give back to the community and, say, hey, what do you want us to hear us cover, because a lot of times we're picking what we want to, hear. And sometimes it's a little biased, or sometimes we really love something or sometimes somebody really hates something, either or. So we went back, to Facebook and we're like, hey, we'll start up a poll. And people kept, giving in, suggestions for games. And I know your brother, Caleb, had suggested this game in the past, and I think this may have been actually the third time he suggested it. And I know Kyle from Experience Grind suggested Metal Warriors. My brother messaged me and said Super Star Wars. And so since Facebook only lets you do a poll of 2 now, I was like, I'll just go in order. So, I put up Comix Zone versus Metal Warriors. This is basically Super Nintendo versus Sega Genesis. And it stayed, kind of head to head for a little bit. And, then everybody wanted this whole Comix Zone over Metal Warriors. I mean, it's a little bit more well-known game as well. I mean, it's got, it looks cool. I'll tell you that much. But so the vote went, and it was for Comix Zone.
I've got, we actually had a total of 89 votes, and Comix Zone won with 51 of those.
Nice. I mean, it was like a second Battermania almost.
Yeah. It had more votes than Battlemania.
Yeah, which is good. And I mean, I know I accidentally ran the poll for longer than it should be, but we called it a certain day and it was still ahead at that time. So, but I mean, this is one game that I remember renting multiple times when I was at Blockbuster when I was a kid because of the flashy cover, and I had a Genesis. And I also, going back to replay this, I remember why I didn't like renting it. I may have rented it more, maybe twice in a handful of times to try to get past it because this game is a little brutal. And it's kind of what, I'm kind of glad that Caleb did tell us to play this again because honestly, I think this will be the last time I ever played this game.
So I don't remember. We played the shit out of it when we were growing up. We actually owned it for the Sega. But I don't remember it being as short as it is. And it may be because it's so hard, and just me not knowing what I was doing when I was younger. Now I feel like I blew through it.
Well, this is
I was about to suggest
this is a game that I probably needed a manual, a walkthrough guide for when I was a kid. Otherwise, that's why I probably never got past the first level.
Probably.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
We'll tell
Yeah.
So real quick though, Comix Zone is a 1995 beat 'em up game developed by Sega for the Sega Genesis. It's got an unusual feature. This game is set within panels of a comic book, and I mean, this game looks true to it. And it's rendered with dialogue, within talk, with bubbles and sprites in the backgrounds. Possessing bright colors and dynamic drawing style. Favored by superhero comics. I mean, this whole style had been used before in Ocean Software's Batman: The Caped Crusader back in 1988. But, Comix Zone basically stretched that idea to such an extent that, Sega applied it for, a patent for a video game system with basically a simulated comic book game, which, when in 95, when you're a kid, I mean, this is pretty badass because nobody had really just done this, to this extent. And you're getting to play a video, game that's actually a comic, and it feels like it's writing itself as you go.
What was your first recollection or first memories of this game, Paul?
So I played this when I was a kid. It was a rental, and like you said, the game is hard enough that it's basically padding the time that you're playing it because it's so freaking difficult. It is incredibly unforgiving as a game, and honestly reminiscent of just Nintendo hard games. So I that is my basic memory, is just that I'm not going to rent this again. I'm probably not going to play it again. I think I'm solid. I think I'm good.
What's funny about this, Micah, is this is the second Sega Genesis game I guess we played, and we talked about Moonwalker, and that game gets brutally hard at points, and it's not forgiving at points. But I mean, this game obviously is nearly, not as nice because, like I said, when you die in this game, if you die in a panel, it's restart basically. I mean, it almost feels easier for me, if you're going to die, to just go hit the reset button on the console instead of just letting it go back to the start menu.
Do you recall Do you recall
Pretty
playing it
much,
as
yeah.
a kid? Like, did you ever finish it? Because I know I didn't.
Oh, I can guarantee you, I never made it past the whole first like 2 segments in the comic. I know for a fact. I got farther playing this within the last week than I have ever in my whole entire life. And spoilers, I did not finish the game. I actually had to watch a speed run to actually just figure out what was going on.
This time around, you did?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I did. Like I said, I never made it past that first panel.
What about you, Paul? Did you ever finish younger?
When I was younger, no, I never finished it. I think I got to the 3rd episode, as they're called, and then just gave up because I was so frustrated that I had to go back to the beginning every time I died.
Yeah, it's I'm my best recollection. Like, I don't know that I made it past chapter 2, like when we were growing up.
Woof.
Well, let's give a little plot breakdown on this, too. So you play as Sketch Turner, which is a starving artist and freelance rock musician living in New York City. He's working on his newest comic book named The Comix Zone. Ironically, the name of this game. Comix Zone is the story of New World Empire's attempt to defend Earth from an invasion of alien renegades, with inspiration coming from Sketch's oddly vivid dreams and nightmares. One night, while Sketch is working on Comix Zone, during a thunderstorm, a lightning bolt strikes a panel of his comic. In this instant, the main villain of Comix Zone, a powerful mutant named Mortis, manages to escape the comic book's pages, desiring to kill Sketch so he can become flesh and blood and take over the real world because he does not possess any power in reality. Mortis sends Sketch into the real world of his own comic, freely drawing enemies in an attempt to kill him. Inside the comic book, Sketch meets General Alyssa Cyan, who believes he is the chosen one, who came to save their post-apocalyptic world from the evil Mortis and the alien invaders. Ignoring Sketch's protests, Alyssa sends him on a mission, keeping in touch with instructions and hints via radio. It is up to Sketch to stop Mortis's evil plans and to find a way out of this comic world. So the game has 2 possible endings at the end of the game. Alyssa attempts to defuse a nuke that Mortis and the mutants plan on using to wipe out the New World Empire and humanity. When Mortis comes back in the comic and throws her into the chamber, which starts to fill up with a liquid, Mortis then battles Sketch personally. If the player defeats Mortis and keeps the creeps he summons as he takes damage quickly enough to drain the liquid and save Alyssa before the nuke self-destructs, an ending occurs where Alyssa comes to the real world with Sketch and Roadkill and joins the army, eventually becoming Chief of Security of the United States. Roadkill is given a vast amount of mozzarella cheese and spends a lot of time exploring the city's sewer system while not sleeping under a pile of sketchy, dirty socks. As for Comix Zone, it becomes a sensation overnight, selling out on its first day, making Sketch famous as the best-selling comic book ever. Now, the other ending is if the player defeats Mortis after the chamber fills with liquid, Alyssa dies, and the nuke self-destructs afterwards. Sketch and Roadkill come out, but Sketch's comic is destroyed, leaving him devastated as having saved the New World Empire, but failed to save Alyssa. The last sentence in the cutscene will say, "Will Sketch unleash the evil once again to relive his adventure in the hope of a better ending? Happy sketching." So 2 things about this game. It kind of reminds me of the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Last Action Hero.
Which one came
and-
out first?
Somebody's gonna have to Google that one. And also,
got it.
reading this first ending where it says that Roadkill is given vast amounts of mozzarella cheese and spends a lot of times exploring the city's new sewer system. Alternate timeline, could Sketch actually be Master Splinter? I mean, not Sketch, but Roadkill could be Master Splinter. Yeah,
Maybe. Last Action Hero came out in 93,
Yeah.
Comix Zone in 95.
so maybe that's where they got some of the the idea from, because it fits a lot about that.
And the whole lightning
Absolutely.
strike to me was like a Flash kind of ripoff. Like, that's how the Flash gets his powers, is getting struck by lightning. That's what it reminded me of.
Oh yeah, I mean, this game is like I said, it's innovative, it's interesting. Like you mentioned, Nintendo hard, but we're gonna say Sega hard because Sega's just hard. I mean, Sega's Sonic was never really easy, and that started off easy.
No.
Alex Kidd was never easy. There's
Kid Chameleon.
they're not. There's these games back in the 8-bit and 16-bit era. They weren't really just easy. And I know we talked about off Mike. You talked about Dark Souls earlier, Paul, and that's not easy. I mean, what were the easy games back then? When you really look at it. But the thing about this game, I mean, it's cool. It's got a lot of interesting things. Like So it's also different if you play on this game with like a 3-button controller versus a 6-button controller, which I played this on original hardware earlier, and I had a 6-button controller. So your XYZ button, which are, the top 3 on a 6-button controller, that's what accesses the inventory that you have, which you can carry 3 extra items, which one of your items can be roadkill. You can get bombs, knives, and I could have swore to God it was a milk jug that he was drinking to get his power back up, but it's actually tea. Did anybody know that?
No, I didn't realize it was tea. I thought it was milk also.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a milk jug, but it's actually tea. And I was like, all right, it is what it is. And I know I mentioned earlier to you if you knew about throwing paper airplanes. If you hold down the A button, he'll actually rip off a part of the comic and throw airplanes. And they'll kill almost anything that's on the screen that's in that path. But if you don't dodge it on its way back, it's going to knock you off and take some health. And of course, creating it takes a little bit of health, just like when you hit any kind of object like the crates or doorways that you got to break through. If you don't have like a bomb, if you're punching it, it's going to take away some of your energy meter, which is one of my biggest issues with this game. I'm like, at no point is it easy to find more tea to get your power up for your health bar. So when you're punching stuff, I mean, you gotta play this game with like grave detail to like say, hey, I got to make sure that this boss can only hit me this amount of times. In this game, no matter what, you take hits. You can't run this game without taking a hit.
Not even a little bit.
And the cool thing is, I mentioned about the 6-button controller, is if you played it with just the 3-button controller, your C button cycles through your items up top, your 3 extras. But on the 6-button, your C button, you can pre-program it to do one of the special kicks or punch moves that you would have to do. It's almost like a Street Fighter-esque, to do your uppercuts and everything. You could just literally have a pre-programmed 3rd button and it auto blocks for you, which does he ever auto block for me? No, he did not. But dealing with these powerful, 1-button attacks, which is good because if you do like, I guess it's like a roundhouse type of kick. I don't know the actual name for it, but I mean, it's almost like a one-hit kill for some people. But what I also like about this one game is if you try to spam killing a bad guy, it basically tells you, that doesn't work. You got to actually do like combo moves, change that punch into a kick. You can't just literally just punch, and knock somebody out, because this game actually has some AI that's a little smarter than that, and it says, no, you're not going to play that, homie.
So I get like one of the big things for me, like, and looking back on this game with like nostalgia glasses, was you were talking about like the comic panel transitions. Like that was so fucking cool back in the day. Like you didn't see that. Like the have the speech bubbles and the comic panel transitions and to be able to choose your own path. Like spoilers, I'm huge into that. I've got a damn choose your own adventure tattoo on my fucking arm. So that was right up my alley.
True.
Nice.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is cool, but I mean, if you take a certain path, I mean, it sends you to like, you can go to hell or you can have a shortcut, one of the two. And like I said, unless you're watching somebody play this as you played it or, going through a walkthrough, this game is not forgiving at any percentage.
No, it's one that you would almost need to map it out. Like, okay, so on this, this first page, I need to go down and I need to go right. Like you would need to sit down with paper and map it out.
Oh yeah.
You got to grind.
Yeah, this is a very grinding game. Like I said, you gotta, if you don't know that right path, I mean, it's going to screw you up. But even if you take the longer path, that's sometimes where you get the little extra power ups through your inventory, which helps out. You might be able to get an extra bomb or two.
So let me ask you guys this, and I didn't do a ton of research into it, and I don't understand the whole premise behind it. I don't know if this was to set up a potential sequel or what, but like the superhero score at the end of the game. Or at the end of every level, like what was the entire point of that?
I think it's just a progress. That's literally like your
yeah, I think it's
that's all it is. But they just want to make it too. It's kind of cool. But it's funny every time that superhero thing would come on, all I could think about was the Cape Podcasters.
I was expecting to get to be able to play as that superhero. Like that was going to be like a final stage. Like if you filled it up, like that would be something that you got to play as.
No, I mean you get the fist looking icon, and that's when you get to use the super sketch, I guess, for a minute, and that's really about it.
The enemy designs were cool. I mean, they were different. They were something that wasn't kind of a normal type game.
Yeah, you have the one guy that kind of reminded me of Jackal off of Mortal Kombat with the arm sickle.
The
Yeah,
hook swords.
and then you had the chick that kind of reminded me of Cammy from Street Fighter.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, so there's some look like they stole some designs from other stuff, but I mean this game's been ported off and on after its Sega Genesis life. I know it went on to the Sonic Mega Collection that you could get. I think it was on the 360 and the PlayStation 3.
Pretty much everything.
Yeah,
because I've got it on Switch too.
nice. Yeah, see, I didn't know that. I probably would have played it on Switch instead of just having to boot up the big old CRT and play it on that.
I will honestly say though, the one that really kind of stuck out to me was that horrifying racial stereotype at the end of Chapter 2, like the boss at the end of Chapter 2. Oh my god!
I mean, even when you're fighting the Cammy chick, she's giving you some kind of like sexual innuendos. She's talking about how she's what is it that she says? She's not sore. She's tender. She's tender. She goes, "I'm tender." I'm like, "Oh, hold up now." Like as a kid, we didn't know what that meant, but a little bit now we're like, "What's she been doing before she got sketched up in this? That pencil go a little too far."
The entire third and fourth levels, like that felt like straight Mortal Kombat ripoffs. Like even like the background and stuff.
Yeah, and it's got a lively sprite background, which is nice, and it's also got defaults to it because you'll get so much stuff on the screen, it will kind of slow down a little bit, and I'm just like, come on. I know you want to put all this shit on the screen, but like, I hate when there's so much shit going on that your character will disappear. That's one of my biggest issues I had playing Mega Man 2. When you got so much shit going on, Mega Man disappears for a second. I'm like, yo, this isn't supposed to happen. I'm like, just take out, make that background stop moving for, the scene or something.
I liked how there were tricks, like when you got to boss battles too. Like there were certain tricks, like the dragon. Like you could push that fire barrel underneath the dragon, and it would automatically hit the dragon for you. Like,
oh yeah, because he even mentions in the bubble writing, it says like you don't like fire or something like that. It's kind of like a hint to say, hey, there's that barrel.
Yeah,
over there.
If you're using the clues, which you get a ton of, like that chick does not care to be real quick. Be like, you should try your rat here. You should try your rat here.
Oh yeah, I mean, just send Roadkill out, in every little panel, and he'll usually, if there's something, he'll pull it out of the screen for you, which might be, some tea, which I still want to call it milk, or anything like that, because I know later on in the game they turn into question marks. You don't know what you're going to get, and you just pick it up, and you're like, oh, that was actually a bomb, or that's actually a knife.
Yeah, that was a little frustrating.
Well, just like it's even though this game is classified as a beat 'em up, it's honestly an action platformer if you really want to say so, because there's puzzle-ish, stuff that you have to go through and everything else. I mean, of course, you got to beat people up, and characters and stuff like that, but to complete each level. But it's honestly an action platformer, no matter which way you look at it.
Yeah,
there was one level that had like a what is that thing called? Like a graboid from Trimmers. Like one of the panels you went to, it looked like one of those super fucking. I forgot what.
Where you had to send Roadkill in his mouth and just keep punching it.
Yeah,
that
reminded me of
up.
Trimmers.
Yeah.
Then that's also in a sand dune-ish, background, which is I guess going towards the ship and stuff. So I mean that makes sense.
Yep.
I'll tell you one of the things that I really did like though, like the fact that you had the hand come in to draw the enemies seemed unique, and then like when you get towards the end of the game, the fact that it pulls him in, and so the panels that you're playing on aren't finished because he's in the game with you now.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, because Mortis is the one drawing everything for you to go through. He's the one who's drawing all the enemies. That's the hand coming in.
Yeah,
So those unfinished panels, I felt like that was a good touch. Like now that he's back into the comic, he can't continue drawing the panels, so they're unfinished.
Yeah.
It still feels like so much less Action Hero.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, any part of this game, I mean, it feels like somebody watched it and was like, I got that idea for the game. Let's go, and I mean, it works. I mean, nobody's going to say that it's a ripoff, but I mean, it's just got ideas. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's at best it's an homage.
Most definitely. Which this game got great reception from rankings and stuff. I mean, EGM gave it a 7.8 out of a 10. A lot of people gave it Famitsu gave it a 30 out of a 40. Game Rankings gave it a 76%. I mean, it got really, really good reviews, but the replayability for me is not there.
Did you see? So I was, like I said, I tried to do a little bit of research, but I didn't have a ton. Did you see where Sega had got a patent for a video game system used for creating simulated comic books?
Yeah, I think you mentioned that earlier in the show, didn't you?
Did I miss that part? I could have been spaced out.
I thought so. No, I might be wrong. I thought someone mentioned that. I thought it was in like the. I thought you mentioned it earlier when describing it, but
Like that seems like that would be really cool. Like not even like an e-reader type.
I mentioned in the beginning, yeah, it was, that they were granted the patent for it, but I mean, I think it was just the patent maybe just for this actual game.
See, I missed all that.
And where nobody else, yeah. I might be wrong, but I mean, it's also like nobody's done this, I think there was a couple like X-Men game that were kind of like similar to this style, but nothing was like the true, like comic, panels like this and, wielding in and out and stuff like that.
I was trying to look up and see, like, was there a sequel to this at all? Like, was there anything that was done with the IP, or was this the only time that was used?
The last time it came out was really like the Game Boy Advance. But, and I think they changed the music around a little bit, but that's that's really about it.
Yeah, I don't think any sequels are made, but if you had read the text at the end, it leaves it open for a sequel. They just never continue with the IP.
Yeah, for this, like, I've got a lot of nostalgia glasses for this. Like, it's a lot like Bionic Commando. Like, I could see them doing like a reskin of it and and this game would still hold up. Because they did that reskin of Bionic Commando 5-10 years ago, and that was real sweet.
I mean, this game's fun, but like it's a game that I would rent, like I said, from Blockbuster on a Friday night, and it was back in that drop-off box by Sunday. It's and never to rent again. It's almost like you almost want to like leave like a note in there, just be like, "Yo, don't rent it again."
Yeah, I think nostalgia glasses really had it for me. Like going into this episode, like anticipating the game more than when I actually played it.
Yeah, I mean. And of course, I don't know, Paul. I don't know if you've ever heard me and Micah talk about this. But Micah is obviously the completionist, and I'm pretty much the cheater, the hack of the whole bunch. And there was a couple cheat codes for this. I mean, and it's basically really, you would go to the jukebox and you would have to type in, go to like number 3, 17, 18, whatever, by only pressing the C button, and you would hear right. And you could usually get either level select or invincibility. And
that's fair.
Where I was using invincibility when I replayed it, when I sent out the screenshot where I got stuck in the lava, is right. It usually bounces you out. But like, since I was playing in invincibility, it just stuck me there. And I was like, whatever. I was like, I'm not, obviously there's repercussions for using, something that would be a debug. But all in all, it is a good game, but it's nothing that I would ever, go raving over, like, be like, man, this is the greatest game ever. I'm like, it's worth the play. It's definitely worth the play. I mean, it's worth knowing how the game was designed and what it was about, but it's not one that...
Give it a shot. You might enjoy it. It wasn't for me.
Yeah. I mean, if you're Caleb, which I'm sorry, bud, that we didn't get you on this episode, get you a computer and maybe we can next time. It's just not, it's not my favorite game. And I guess we can kind of walk up into rankings unless somebody else wants to talk about this some more. I don't really
know what else to talk about. I mean, there's just not a lot of depth or a lot of replayability to it, is where it hampers it for me.
Well, it's not a very long game either.
No, I think you can complete it in like 45 minutes if you're that good.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a speed run of less than 13 minutes, and the thing is like speed run in this game is not really fair because this game makes you like hold on a little bit. It's like, oh, I might give you the yellow area to go to the next panel, or I might not. Hold on a second,
Yeah.
So I don't know what the true times are.
I will say one thing, that the mistranslations were hilarious. Like the chief of security for the United States. You mean the secretaries? I don't know what you're going for there.
Yeah.
Or her hilarious screams at the end, I'm drowning with a D in there.
Yeah. I mean, that's always been the greatest about all these, things. And it just shows that it says the release was in Sega Genesis for August 2nd for 1995 for North America. And I don't see nothing about a Japanese release in here. It just shows, a European release for Windows 95 and that's really about it. So I don't know how far this went over. Like, I didn't look over and see if there was, actual Japanese version. It might just be American only.
Yeah, I didn't.
So if they did the translations, it's just, somebody not double checking their work.
I didn't mean to cut you off. We can go ahead and ease into ratings.
You're good. That's fine. So Micah and Paul, the way we do our rating systems here for new listeners, or if you've listened before, you get to hear it again. We have a ranking system, which is basically a 3-tier shelf, but it's broken into 5 pieces for some because we change things as we go. So it's basically, if you were to keep this game in your collection, would you put it on the bottom shelf, middle shelf, top shelf, the glass case for your most beloved of all time games, or that little wicker basket down there to the left where you put the controllers and other junk at? So Micah, Comix Zone for the Sega Genesis. If you're putting this in your collection, where is it going?
So Nostalgia Glasses Micah wants to go immediately to middle shelf, but realistic current year Micah is going to go bottom shelf. It's not an awful game. It's got some stuff to it that I really like. Like I said, the panel transitions, the word bubbles, the whole premise behind it. But the replayability hampers it a lot, and the difficulty on it hampers it a lot. And the fact that like there's no variations to going back in, that which lends to the replayability. You just, like, once you're done, you're done. Like, you're going to follow the same path. Like, even if the paths were, what's a good word? Like if they randomly generated the paths, like that can make it different. Like I could see where that would take this game from a bottom shelf to a middle shelf. Like every time you don't go right, down, left, up, whatever it is. Like if it put different items in different, I know that's a big thing for like playing through with someone like the old school, like Zelda games and stuff like that. Like if there was a port of this to where that happened, like that could move this game up to
almost like a random respawn type
like
stuff.
That can move this up to a middle shelf. But for me, it's because of the lack of replayability, it's going to get pushed down to the bottom. What about you?
I got you. Well, I know I mentioned beforehand that I was not a fan of this game, and I've really been, borderline on the whole bottom shelf or like putting in that wicker basket. It's probably the wicker basket for me. I mean, it's the lowest tier that I can get because this is not a game that I ever want to really just, boot up ever again. I mean, it was fun to play this one time around. It's got, now that I'm older, I can look at aspects of games and understand, this is why they did that because, it wasn't kids designing games. It was obviously, adults and, people our age that were designing these games, and they had, the understandings to why they make it harder and why they do this. And I understand, why you die in this game and you start off, it's not like you get extra lives in a comic book, it's like if you're dead, you die, I mean, I know things change.
Have you read a comic book?
Yeah, recently I know it's changed, but I mean, in 95, basically if you died, they kind of just wrote you off, I guess. I'd have to really go back to those Silver Age comics and go deep into it. But it makes sense to why there's no, life counter system in this. So basically, if you die in that panel, you get to restart that panel, but after that, it's over with, and you're restarting the game. And that's one thing that just makes me not like this game. Even if you were to play it with somebody younger or a friend, it's a one-player game, but there's no fun in it, like, unless everything to do pinpointed. Otherwise, you're dying. And I felt like even Cuphead is more forgiving than this game to me. And that's, way dates apart, but it's still like it's got that whole aspect where I think I like lives in the game, and not having that is what kind of just instantly turned me off from this. Even though it's a short game, like I said, you can beat it from anywhere from 13 minutes to an hour or something like that. It's taken me 20 plus years and I still haven't beat it, and I don't plan on it either. So Paul, if you're gonna put this game in your collection, your real or virtual, where's it going on that shelves?
Wow. I actually am going to be the highest of all of us. I put it on the mid shelf. It's not a terrible game. I enjoyed it. I'm probably not going to finish it, but I still enjoyed what I played, and I could see myself attempting to do so again. So like it's not. I
was gonna say it's like a year down the road, you might be like, I'm gonna go ahead and finish that damn game.
Yeah, why not? I don't see why not. I'm not going to play it tonight. I'm not going to play it in the foreseeable future, but I might give it a shot.
Just remember your objects to save Alyssa.
It's fine.
Well, there's two options. You can not save her, or you could become
Yeah.
the best-selling comic of all
I'm
time.
drowning.
That's almost like all your base belong
Bitch,
to us.
Yeah, it's like, bitch, you don't know English, so you are going to drown.
Oh, boy.
Well, that's Comix Zone for you. The 1995 beat 'em up for the Sega Genesis.
Not bad. Not great. Play it if you want, or don't. I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, have fun, Google some cheats. But like I said, there's it won't get you too far if you, fall in the lava.
The floor is lava.
Yeah, the floor is lava. Literally.
My life is lava.
I don't know how to take that, but it sounds a little hot. Mike, it's weird since we don't do wrestling talk anymore.
I know. I was sitting here like
I don't know how to. I don't know how to end this podcast
I
anymore.
was thinking about waiting for the bumper, and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, it's like it's hold on, let me do this real quick for you. You're waiting for a bumper. It's not there.
So if
It was once called from the
if
top
you're
rope.
here for From the Top Rope with Micah, it has been moved to our Facebook group. You can find it there, and we discuss all things wrestling. So rest in peace, From the Top Rope bumper.
Is this the song from like the end of The Incredible Hulk?
No, but it is sad enough where it could be, because why does anybody remember that?
That's the song from my bumper walking down the road and just looking back over its shoulder.
Yeah. It's like
Well, yeah, that's The Incredible Hulk.
it's like, was I a good bumper? No, you were
No.
the best bumper.
I just want to go watch The Incredible Hulk.
Well, you get a sad evening, Paul.
I don't like. Is it bad that the Family Guy episode where Stewie's walking away doing this Incredible Hulk, like same thing as taking over my subconscious as the Incredible Hulk?
Yeah, pretty much.
No, I get it.
Well, I'm just picturing, your bumper become an actual meme. It's like, was I a good bumper? And it's like, no, you weren't. No. You may have been. I don't know. It's hard to beat the other bumpers.
But for real,
Fair, yeah.
Any wrestling talk is now solely in that Facebook group. So search for From the Top Rope, and you will find it, and join us. I'll approve it unless you're a bot. And we do live discussions of the pay-per-view. I'm usually in there talking to myself, but you can come hang out.
Well,
You can come hang out, and we share wrestling memes and wrestling news and everything else.
Yeah, I comment on some crazy shit every once in a while. Or, I know I ended up posting some old 2014 match or whatever.
Yeah, you found like a
Christmas
whole
stuff,
like house show thing.
Yeah, it got some hate from a certain somebody, but it is what it is. It's there.
All right, let's get back. Let's get this back up to
What?
10.
Yeah, yeah. Now that we're all done crying, and like I feel like I just walked a casket, across a football field or something like that, or a wrestling ring. But I guess everybody wants to know what's going to be episode 20. I wish episode 20 would have ended in 2019. I mean, it's going to feel like season 1 is on that Christmas break and starts back up in 2020. But it's on to the movies, and we're going to cover Ready to Rumble.
So good.
Good choice.
Yeah,
So good.
yeah. I knew Micah would really like when you messaged me today. Like, what are we covering? I was like, I'm just going to make your day on this one. And
Nice.
a listener of ours had actually messaged me and was like, hey man, if y'all are considered covering Ready to Rumble, and I think Micah, we talked about it in the past. I think early off we talked about it, off mic about covering it, and I was like, what's a better time, than now.
Well, and it'll fit right into January is always the road to WrestleMania. Like that's the big
most definitely.
push is the Royal Rumble, and you get into WrestleMania season, so it'll be a good jump into all that.
We'll need to have somebody have a counter for like every time we say "Crown him, King, crown him." So we're gonna need somebody to have like a little meter that says ding, ding, ding. But
Nice.
it's time for a movie, and I mean, we're all over the wall, and I've probably got some ideas for 2020 on the way we're gonna do some of our games and stuff, and maybe even our movies. I know I talked about even what didn't win this poll. So Metal Warriors didn't win the poll, and obviously the next lineup was Super Star Wars. So obviously I'll start up a poll after our movie. After we do Ready to Rumble, we'll probably put up the poll between Metal Warriors and Super Star Wars, and that'll be our next episode. And I might even let people constantly start putting in these older titles, and we'll just finally start going off of that. Where it's not you and me just picking. Let everybody else hear what they wanted to hear us talk about.
Until they suggest some stupid shit, and then I'm gonna kibosh it.
Oh, you're like, so no more Super Mario Brothers 2 for
no.
you? No.
Hey, that was a good game.
That's a great game. Micah doesn't think so, though.
I understand. Like, I can understand why people would not like it, but I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah. But it is what it is. If you want to learn why, go back to that episode and listen to that. But other than that, I mean, it's been I've had fun for 2019. I know it's our first season. We look, on to many more. I hope, things get better as we go. If you log into 2020 and hear a different intro, possibly, I don't know. Does it change? Does it stay the same? I don't know. I haven't really made our mind up yet, but I got 2 weeks to figure it out.
Fair enough.
I guess I can do my spiel now, huh? My spiel.
Spiel?
Would you like to hear my spiel?
Yeah. Or do you want to talk all quiet and give out recipes again? Because I know
everybody seemed to like that last time.
Yeah. So we just gotta be like, hey, Micah.
I'm trying to think of a recipe like
make
off
my
the top
marinade?
of my head.
No, you just like how I take my marinade and I like to rub it all over myself before I marinate the steaks. No, that's gross.
I put it on my nipples and then I slowly caress it in, and then I bake my nipples at 450 for 15 minutes.
Man, that's a little hot, man. You're almost getting up to broiling level. So I mean, I don't like your nipples extra crispy,
extra tender.
Yeah, we prefer the original recipe here.
Yeah. I prefer like, an hour and a half at 300 instead.
You just want them nice and soft so they just fall apart.
Yeah, I want it crispy on the outside and tender on the inside.
That's how my kisses are. That's how my kisses are, Paul.
Crispy on the outside? Who
Yeah,
wants that
he's
in
got
his
chapped
kiss?
lips. It's a little cold outside, I guess.
Good Lord.
Everybody knows what to get Micah for Christmas, chapstick.
And cocaine.
All right, so if you made it this far, we appreciate you listening.
Fucking congratulations.
Why are you listening
seriously.
to an episode about
thank
Comix
you.
Zone?
Yeah. Your name must be Caleb.
But for real, you can find all of our shit on our website. It is digitalcartridgepodcast.com. There are links on there to our t-shirts. You can go on there. I'm actually wearing our t-shirt right now. You can't see that because we don't do video, but I'm pointing at it. If we have t-shirts, we have hoodies. That is on there. The link is on there to all of our social media, all of the other streaming platforms that we're available on. And it is also a link on there to our Patreon.
Yeah, you got some interesting content on there. Also, we've been popping up on YouTube lately, and I've been, loading up some of our episodes in a video form on Facebook, since that's, sometimes everybody likes it all in one place, so you can just open it up and while you're scrolling, listen to us.
You can also always give us a call, leave us a voicemail. We will listen to it after the music plays us out as part of our stinger and respond to it in real time. That phone number is 470-DIGITAL, 470-344-4825.
I was going to say, we actually do have a review
Oh,
on iTunes.
fucking snap.
Yes, and I mean, of course, we went somehow from 17 5-stars up to 23 in like a week. So, thanks on that. Whoever all y'all are, new listeners or whatever's going on, thank you for the Christmas gift. But somebody actually did write a review, and it says, very entertaining, enjoyable, never gets old, always for a good laugh. And this came from Cube00. So, man, thank you, Cube, whoever you are. We love the reviews. I mean, it's awesome, man. I really appreciate it. The more content we get like that, the likes and everything, moves up on the list. So, more and more people know about us, and we can just keep moving.
I'll even go as far as to say this, and you got to get real close, and I need to listen to you or need you to listen, because this is going to be a secret that I don't want iTunes to hear. If you leave us a 5-star iTunes review and you have a laptop, you can guest host on the show with us.
or you might suck their dick in the closet, one of the two.
I will do that while you're guest hosting on the show with Sean.
He's actually doing it right now.
So, hold up, man. I'm driving my ass up to Kentucky.
I know we talked about it at the beginning of the episode, but we want to, of course, thank Paul for coming on. And you want to go ahead and plug your shit again for everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. The old episodes of Loaded Cart Podcast are still up. They're probably going to be a little bit dated, but that's all right. It's loadedcartpodcast.com. Find them on all the other fun stuff. And also, if you want to take a look at what I play every week, it is twitch.tv/what's Paul playing today. That is Tuesday through Friday, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Yeah, look for that link in the show notes.
And if you like consistency, my dude is consistent as shit. Like, I get that notification every day while I'm at work, and I'm like, damn, I'm busy, and I can't watch Paul play today, but he's playing.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, it's because he's too busy, binging, something on Netflix, and
I'm too busy stuck watching The Office because people force me into it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember early off in our couple first episodes when you mentioned that you didn't like The Office. Like, I was getting hate mail for you, and I was like, I can't let Micah know this. And then, once you admitted to watching it, it finally went away. I
did ride with Paul for the majority of when he was playing through the original Fallout again.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a good time. I missed a lot of stuff.
Well, I was going to say, other than, finding us, on all those platforms, we also do have another Facebook group other than the From the Top Rope, that Micah puts on. We have something that's a little bit darker at times. And it's Uncle Touchy's Naked Puzzle Basement. You can go in there, have some fun.
How did you find out about that?
I
kept that a secret.
Listen. When Uncle Touchy brought me down there and told me to take my shirt off and take pictures, I was only 12 years old.
Dude, that was one time. I'm sorry. Okay?
Look, you said one time, but every time you made me drink this Kool-Aid, that was always one time, and I started getting these flashbacks. I was like, I've been here before.
That's delicious Kool-Aid. How dare you?
Yeah, I mean, it does taste like furniture polish, but I mean,
it's strawberry flavored furniture polish, though.
Yeah, it's strawberry
just
pine.
Like NyQuil.
You don't like the strawberry pine? Drink it. It's okay. It'll grow hair on your chest, just like Uncle Touchy has.
It's true. I really do have a hairy chest.
All right. Well, I guess if that's it, let's get the fuck out of here so I can go to bed.
Merry Christmas. Tell me what you got.
Ho, ho, ho.
Already.
Bye.
Peace out, bitches.
Bye.